What is something America does great? Theme parks. My parents used to take me on holiday to Florida as kid every year when I was 9 through to about 15 years of age. Visiting places like Disney World, Universal Studios, Busch Gardens and the Kennedy Space Center was amazing and in parts like being on another planet. Produce Americans. Far more than any other nation. They will always be the absolute best at this. We're great at chatting you up. I've never met you before. But I want to know all about how your trip is going. And how long you're planning to stay. And what you've seen so far. National parks. A lot of things actually. The media just focus on the bad things so much that I find it hard to remember all the good things now. I know it's there. I'm just constantly being told otherwise. CGI in movies. Standard of living, our poor are wealthier than many places on earth. Somehow persisting though chaos. The customer experience. The scale of it. Wanna rent a car? Here's a paved field full of them, pick one. Candy. We've got 50 flavors. Just in case. The trust. If you come from a developing country, you'll know what I mean. You can serve yourself soda, they trust most people won't take it for free. And the low marginal cost will compensate for those few who will. The diversity of supply. You need a cat psychotherapist? Here's a bunch of them that live in your county. Sorted by client rating. I guess most of the stuff I mentioned comes with being a developed country. But the US feels like it's in its own league. I was baffled when I visited. Ease of doing business. Tech companies. Capitalism. By that, I mean if you have an idea or something you want to purchase, within reason, it'll soon be marketed. Making public buildings/spaces handicap accessible. Providing free GPS to everyone. Junk food in general is top-notch, deep dish pizza. Bacon cheeseburgers. Bacon and cheese fries. Hot dogs etc. Movies. We have the best movies. Our music. So many iconic artists come from America. Diversity in every meaning of the word. Culture. Food. People. In my freshman dorm suite in college, we had a Pakistani immigrant, me. International Korean student. First generation Mexican American. Space exploration. Always had a pretty good rap game. Business ventures. If I have an idea for a business, I can go to City Hall and get a license for $25, where I live. Now I'm in business. Feeding the world. The US provides as much international food aid as every other country combined. Protect speech. No other country goes quite as far in protecting it from government consequences. Food. You walk for 5 minutes in New York and you find a bagel shop. Walk another 5 minutes you find sushi. Another 5 you find food from some mysterious European country you've never heard of and doesn't show on any map. I've heard it's similar in Chicago. Guns. Fried foods. You ever have a twice deep fried Twinkie covered in chocolate? I have. Basketball. Self-defense laws. It is ridiculous how here in Australia you can be charged if someone breaks into your home and attacks your wife and kids and you try to stop them. You don't even have to hurt the guy, just putting your hands on him could get you charged. I've heard that the best hospitals in the entire world are in Boston, Massachusetts. As a Canadian, I love the people. Americans are always so warm, friendly and welcoming when I tell them that I am Canadian. Great hospitality every time I go there. Fast food. Truly a disgustingly magnificent art form. The Olympics. The US has a ton of advantages. Medical research. By far. Of course the reason for this is there is ton of money in it. Which translates to the vast majority of cutting-edge treatment options are out of reach for 99% of us. General hospitality in person, I say in person because don't lie, we're all pricks online at times. I think America has the best looking trucks. Despite its many flaws. I do think our Constitution, Bills of Rights, and court system can do a lot of good in the right hands. Soda. I have to order it into Scotland. Much more expensive but so worth it. French fries LOL. In the new Borat movie, there is the scene where at the beginning of lockdown Borat asks two strangers if he can stay at their place. The strangers take him in and they live together during a pandemic. The guys were revealed to be conspiracy spouting Trump supporters, but they were so warm and welcoming to Borat. At the end of the film, you actually feel like they became genuinely attached to Borat. As a non-American, I found this really surprising since they were Trump supporters. That to me is what America is. A beautiful mess of contradictions. Barbecue. I've seen what passes for barbecue in Europe and it's so sad. Barbecue. On the surface, this may seem like a dumb answer, but I would say overcoming adversity. First off, I can't think of a nation this large that's filled with this many different races and subcultures. And yes, we've had a history of prejudice and withholding rights. But we're getting over it. In a world where there are countries that still oppress women and minorities far worse than we do, I think that's noted progress on our part. Second, we've done it in incredible time. Some nations have had literally thousands of years of existence. We have like 2 to 3 centuries in which we've done what we've done. It's been quick. Whether it felt like it or not. Music. Rock. Jazz. Blues. Rap. Salsa if you count PR as the US. Disco. Funk. Electronic. Vaporwave. Etc. Stand-up comedy. Yes, I'm aware that other countries have great stand-up comedians as well, LOL. However, no matter who you name, I'll rebut with Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K. Richard Pryor, Bill Burr, George Carlin, etc. etc. We are undefeated at Super Bowl World Championships. We also keep the ocean's trade routes free and open. Nothing like the Navy patrolling to keep China in check and to make some nation don't step out of line. Porn. Although it's all step-siblings trash these days. Great camera work though. Metal music. Even though my favorites still come mostly from Finland, there are some great bands coming from the US of A like Death, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Toxic Holocaust, Shadow of Intent, Warbringer, etc. Second Amendment. We are the most generous country in the world. We have hospital ships that visit countries that provide aid to small island nations free of charge to them. Operation Christmas Drop is the longest running humanitarian aid mission to date. I was lucky to take part. No caveats in free speech laws like in Europe. I'm not really sure how to out this in words. But quality of life? Our houses are huge and cheap, everywhere except mega cities. We have ice galore. When I went to EU it was so weird not having ice or extremely cold water. Our food is cheap and plentiful, most of the times too plentiful. And people are generally very nice. I don't think quality of life is the correct way to describe these things, but I hope you know what I'm saying. Despite its political and social flaws, I've heard America is known to make some damn good barbecue. Individuality. Notwithstanding the fact that still having states in 2020 is absolutely bonkers, they have all managed to maintain their sovereignty and a distinct identity. IMO. The best and worst thing about the US is that it's 50 tiny nations coming together to make their tiny nations better. The Brits deserve an honorable mention. But nobody beats America at rock and roll. The anti-Americanism is so pervasive on the internet that even on a post explicitly asking what America does great, many people are still relying on stereotypes and generalizations to portray the country in a negative light. I guarantee that if this question was asked about any other country, the ratio of positive to negative comments would be nowhere close. Barbecue, Hollywood, and national parks. I would say pride. Both positively and negatively, if that makes sense. I remember Stephen Fry once talked about the difference between American and British comedy, and he said that in American sitcoms, the lead character is the hero. He's the one that gets the girl. The one that smashes someone else's guitar like in Animal House, whereas a UK sitcom lead character is the loser like David Brent. The guy that always ends up back at square one. So in that way, I think Americans are great at being proud and loving themselves. If they did something good, they make sure you know it. And deservingly so. On the other hand, that pride is also a double-edged sword, as when Americans are wrong, that pride can be painful for them and everyone else. It can easily morph into self-delusion of being infallible. Coca-Cola. Sometimes war. Hey. Thanks for this post. It made me smile because to me lately Reddit has felt a lot like, America is just a shithole where shit gets fucked, and it's nice for once to read nice things about us. We will cross a frozen river at night to kill an enemy army in their sleep. On Christmas. We have done it before. Respect tourists. People coming to the US don't have to worry about two separate exchange rates or shop owners trying to scam them because they are tourists. You don't get the okay now watch out for people on the street offering you something. Because you're a tourist here, if someone offers you something because you're not local, for the most part it's a genuine attempt to give you a good experience, whereas people coming back from Europe often talk about dodging scams. Film industry is leagues ahead of everyone else. Beyond what the jokers in this thread are already saying. The US public library and mail systems are both really well run and easily accessible, when the leaders of them aren't actively sabotaging it. /. The interstate highway system specifically. And how affordable and accessible automobile travel is to the masses in general. Win the Stanley Cup. Been to America 4 times and have always found the people to be extremely welcoming and warm towards me. Thanks for watching.